Have you ever felt like this simple advice to eat less and move more just doesn't tell the whole story? Well, today, we're digging into the hidden science of weight loss, and trust me, the answers are probably not what you're expecting.
All right, let's just get right to it with the big question, the one so many of us have asked. Why is it so incredibly difficult not just to lose weight, but to actually keep it from coming back? It's a real struggle for so many people.
For as long as we can remember, the answer we've been given sounds so straightforward. It's just a math problem, right? You burn more calories than you take in, and boom, the weight should just disappear. That's the theory, anyway.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Modern science is showing that this simple equation just doesn't quite add up for everybody. In fact, a major review in a medical journal puts it perfectly. It says that the whole calories in, calories out model flat out fails to explain why different people can have such wildly different results on the exact same diet.
So if it's not just a simple calorie calculation, what on earth is going on under the hood? Well, it's time to pull back the curtain and meet the powerful, hidden players that are really running the show.
Our first stop is probably somewhere you weren't expecting. We're going deep inside your digestive system to uncover the secret and surprisingly huge role of your gut.
See, living inside you right now is this bustling inner ecosystem, trillions of tiny organisms we call the gut microbiome. And this community isn't just hanging out helping with digestion. Oh no, it's a major control center, actively regulating your metabolism and your body's entire energy budget.
Now, to make it simple, think of your gut bacteria as having two dominant teams. On one side, you have the firmicutes. These guys are the energy savers. They are masters at squeezing every last possible calorie from the food you eat. On the other side are the bacteroidetes, the fiber specialists, who are much less efficient at this. The specific balance between these two teams in your gut can make a massive difference.
So what we're saying is, your personal mix of gut bacteria could literally change how many calories you absorb from the exact same sandwich as the person sitting next to you. But how big of a deal is this really? Just how powerful is this effect?
Okay, get ready for this because this study was an absolute game changer. Scientists took mice that were born and raised in a completely sterile environment, meaning they had zero gut bacteria. Then they introduced a normal microbiome. And the result? It was stunning. The mice's body fat shot up by 60%, even though they started eating less food. This was huge. It showed a direct link between gut bacteria and how our bodies store fat. So let's let that sink in for a second. The crucial takeaway here is that your personal internal ecosystem is a massive variable that the old calories in, calories out model completely misses. It can literally change the energy value of your food after you've already eaten it.
Okay, so that's one hidden force messing with the calories in part of the equation. But what about the calories outside? Well, that brings us to our second hidden player, your body's ancient, hardwired survival programming.
You ever feel like your own body is fighting you tooth and nail when you're trying to lose weight? Well, guess what? You're not imagining it. It's a very real phenomenon called metabolic adaptation. It's where your metabolism, the rate you burn energy at rest, slows down way more than it should based on your weight loss alone.
The best way to picture this is to think of it as your body's ancient defense against starvation. From a biological standpoint, a diet looks a lot like a famine. So in response, your body, trying to protect you, flips a switch and goes into this emergency power-saving mode to conserve every calorie it possibly can.
This chart shows it perfectly. That top bar, that represents the metabolic rate you would expect to have based on your new lower body weight. But that bottom bar, that's what often happens in reality. Your metabolism is actually running much slower. That difference between the two is what scientists call the metabolic gap, and it's a huge reason why keeping weight off is so challenging.
And listen, this isn't something that just bounces back after a few months. A really famous study followed contestants from the TV show The Biggest Loser. And what they found was that this powerful metabolic slowdown was still there, still significant, a full 6 years after the show ended. It is a long-term, persistent biological response.
So what's actually driving this slowdown? Well, it's pretty much a perfect storm of biological changes. Your hormones go haywire, especially the ones that control hunger and fullness. Your thyroid hormones, which are like the gas pedal for your metabolism, can get dialed down. And even on a microscopic level, your individual cells get super efficient at using energy, which means they burn less fuel to do the same amount of work.
Okay, so we've got the gut microbiome changing the energy we get from food, and we've got metabolic adaptation putting the brakes on the energy we burn. It sounds a little bleak, doesn't it? But it's not. All this new science is actually giving us a completely new playbook.
And maybe the single most important takeaway from all of this is this. The struggle is not a sign of personal failure. It's not about a lack of willpower. It's about a fundamental mismatch between our ancient biology, which is wired for scarcity, and our modern world of abundance.
So, can we actually influence our gut microbiome? Yes. And this table lays out the options. You can see things like probiotics and prebiotics, and they can have modest effects. But look at that top line. The research is crystal clear. Diet is by far the most powerful tool we have. High-fiber diets in particular are what those beneficial bacteria love to feast on.
And when it comes to that metabolic slowdown, the most critical thing is just awareness. Knowing that it doesn't just go away when you hit your goal weight, it sticks around. It's half the battle. It means that to maintain a new weight, you might have to work a little differently than someone who is never overweight to begin with.
But, and this is a really big but, there is some amazing news. We can fight back. The research consistently shows that physical activity is the most promising way to counteract this metabolic adaptation. Exercise essentially sends a signal to your body that says, hey, it's okay, the emergency's over, you can ramp the power back up.
And all of this leaves us with one last big idea to think about. As we keep uncovering these incredible hidden forces, is it possible that the future of health is less about a constant battle of willpower and more about finally learning how to work with our biology instead of always fighting against it?